Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we're back for tihgt Motorsport Super Touring Championships Season 3. Welcome down under to the race ring of Mount Panorama, or if you call it Bathurst. Bathurst has many different names for this wonderful circuit on the top of the mountain. My name is Darragh Thacker, alone in the commentary box this week. Zach Sweeney's had a fab weekend down in forward to this race. Too much of that 5-minute races. We've got a very tight championship here. But firstly, we've got a look at the circuit. Mount Panorama, interesting dynamic front. It's somewhat twisty on the mountain. You've got long straights, good opportunities for overtaking as well. You can see 23 turns, 6.2 kilometers. Down at the chase, down at turn 2. So we'll have to see how this can pan out. And we think our track sponsors here as well. But you know, in the championship, you've got to think it's so tight at the top. There's not many points separating the top guys in this Super Touring Championship 3. But you know, it all comes down to the final few rounds. After Bathurst, we've only got 2 more to go. Of course, at Sepang and the Nordschleife. But it is Gregor Hujek, I should say, who leads by 1 point ahead of Gasper Mrak and Christian Juhas. So not a lot of time between these not a lot of points between these guys. At this stage of the season, we've got Christian Juhas only 5 points back, Bench Farkash 10 points back, Pavel McConin 18, and then the gaps open out a little bit, but some very tight times, some very interesting dynamics between some of these drivers, and of course with the top 10 reverse after race 1, we're going to have to see how it all pans out here this evening. A lot can be won, a lot can be lost on the mountain at Mount Panorama. We see it in all forms of racing, in many different leagues, in many different cars, and the Super Touring Championship here at tihgt Motorsport is absolutely no different. We can see cars banging against the walls as they rise over the top of the hill. So it's going to be difficult, I think, for some of these guys, maybe to dial in early on just to make sure that they can get their line sorted, get their car set up for the race. Of course, it's such a difference when you go from the long straight down towards the tight, twisty parts of the racetrack, as we see over the top of the mountains. It's a bit difficult to really know exactly how to place your car, how to make sure that it works best for you. But at the moment in this practice session, we have Christian Juhas going fastest. We're seeing times over 2 minutes. You'd expect that, of course, over 6 kilometers. It's a long old way for these touring cars to go, but when they get down the straights, the slipstream is going to really come into effect, and we might see a few drivers attempt moves down it, particularly here at the chase. So lots to look forward to, I think, in this race. I mean, we've got, as I said, a couple more rounds after this in the championship, so really points are prizes at this stage of the season. You don't really want to be giving up too many points and positions as we run into these closing stages of the season, because you really can't afford to drop a few points, especially in such a tight championship as we have here for Season 3. 10 points splitting the top 4, 23 splitting the top 7, and of course 20 points for a race victory. And with 6 races to go, it really is anybody's game in that top 6. Quick shout out to Christian Orban as well. He leads the Cup standings. Currently would be P10 overall, but he hasn't picked up a podium. So he is currently leading those standings. But, of course, you get prizes for everything you can. I believe the Cup winner will receive £40 prize money at the end of the season, so you know it might pay to not pick up a podium for a couple of those guys further back. Of course, you got the weekly prize money, 20 points for your weekly 20 pounds, I should say, sorry, for your weekly winner. You get 20 points for a race winner as well, of course. But there are many money prizes all the way through the season for all of these guys to tuck into. So it always gives chances, even if you're not as far forward in the championship, got those chances in the race. We're going to get into qualifying now. 12 minutes on the clock. Of course, you've got to remember on the race room platform, when that timer hits 0, session is over. No one can set another lap time. Even if you're coming around the final corner, you cannot improve on your lap time. That is it. You'll see your car disappear from the racetrack, and you'll have to stick with the time you've already got. So the metaphorical timer hitting 0 for these guys, for them to have to cross their line to start their laps, is going to be about 2 minutes 15. You're going to want to be starting a lap before then. If you're starting a lap after that point, you're not going to get it on the board. So it's basically an in-lap for these guys. So they're getting out early, as we'd expect, because, you know, 12 minutes for a qualifying session isn't the longest time, and really, when you're only ever going to be able to set 5 full lap times, including an out lap, you want to get out as quickly as you possibly can. Make sure that you can get the time in early, get a bank on, and then maybe go a little bit faster towards the end of the session. But a few drivers getting out early. We're looking for some of the top guys as well, just to see how they get on. Maybe a few guys a little bit further back in the order, looking to pick up a few points here this evening. And it goes without saying that before we get in qualifying, we've got to say thanks to our sponsors, Imperial Meat and Fish, Dressy Garage, Marche de Merb, and Team Fondue. We always thank those guys for their support all the way through this season. It really does support the championship, and really does support us with all these prizes that these guys are racing for. Really, they're up for grabs, and really anybody can be taking home that big prize of the championship at the end. Top 7 really in with a chance. We'll have to see how they can all do this evening. Of course, we're going to be keeping an eye on Gregor Hubek, Gasper Ramp, and Christy Newhash particularly, but don't count out the likes of Farkas and Pavel Makonin. A little bit of tyre warm-up here as we make our way down into the chase for these guys to start their opening lap times. Of course, we're all in the Cupras. Everyone not really being able to choose which cars they're in, but it makes it a little bit tighter. Excuse me, a little bit closer. You can't really try and gain an advantage in your car that you have. So it's nice to see the Spec Series nice and tight. We're going to see the first laps being started with just under 10 minutes on the clock. Everyone coming around the final corner, they'll be hoping that they don't get caught up with each other too much. Of course, if there's a crash on the mountain, you're going to find yourself in a world of trouble, particularly in the early stages of the race. If you can avoid that, lap 1, lap 2, you should be set for a relatively good race, but you also cannot forget top 10 reversed in race 1, will set the grid for race 2, 11, agonisingly close to that reverse grid pole. You will have to start a long way further back, but you can see all these guys making their way down towards Quarry Bend for the first time, as they will now start their rise up the mountain to the cutting, and then through Griffin's Mount, Repark, Frog Hollow, through to McPhillips Park and Skyline. The corners just keep coming at you when you're at this stage of the racetrack. We'll have to see who can negotiate. Last week we were at Slovakia, the Slovakia ring, and the week before we were at Silverstone. So Mount Panorama at Bathurst, very, very different prospect, and we'll have to see how this can all pan out. It's going to be an incredibly important evening in terms of the championship, but who will see themselves rise to the top. Down we dive though through Skyline for the opening time. A lot of these guys will be setting their opening times, and we'll really get a picture of who is where when they come across the line. But as we go down the S's and in towards the dipper, Banky, Slovakian in this Cupra, down in towards down the Comrade Straight, I should say. Of course, the Comrade Straight, the longest of the straights that we have here at Bathurst. When you go into the chase, it's an overtaking opportunity, but of course, with that fast right-hander that we see, it's a little bit difficult to place the car. We've always seen incidents down here, and airplane crashes really at that, because of the high speeds that these drivers are going at. But down in towards the chase, a couple more corners to go. You don't want to ruin your lap time here, because you've worked so hard to keep your car in bounds on the apexes all the way through the lap. Oh, we can see a couple of drivers getting a little bit out of shape, very close together in the background. But through the final corner, we've nearly gone halfway through the qualifying session, and we're yet to get a time on the board, but that's about to change, as it's Christy Newhash up towards the line. What can he set? It's going to be a very nice 2:14.5. Can anybody beat it though? We're going to see a flurry of lap times as they all cross the line. Pascal Jean-Pretre is currently P2 ahead of Pavel Makonin and Mario Zabdir, but the times are going to come thick, and they're going to come fast. Farkas, the Hungarian driver, coming over the top of the mountain. He set a purple first sector, to keep an eye out for him as we make our way through. Gasper Marak not having the best of opening laps, and it's not good for him as he tries to chase Gregor Hubek, who we haven't seen a time yet on the board. As I say that, he popped himself up into P5. Good for Christy Newhash though, provisional P1, and he's third in the championship. He needs to pick up those points if he can this evening. Bench Farkash down in towards now what is, of course, Forest's elbow, and you've got to get a good exit out of here. Arguably the most important exit on the racetrack, because it can really set you up for A, move in the race, and B, a good lap time in this qualifying session. Not the best of lap times for Geskiowski. Yes, give us. Yeah, I said it right the first time. As he was 5 seconds down, P14 for him at the moment. But Bench Farkash is the driver we're looking at, really showing us his pace. A long way up on the lap time at the moment. Purple in Sector 1, Purple in Sector 2. He's now got one more corner to negotiate to see whether he can put himself in towards the top, well, really, on towards the provisional pole. That's where he's aiming for, and that's what he's looking to put himself into. 6 minutes, just under that in the qualifying session to go with, more than half this qualifying session, but Bench Farkash won't mind, because he's straight to the top of the timing sheet. 6/10 clear, 2/3 of a second clear of absolutely anybody. Bench Farkash definitely looks like the man to beat for now. We've got 15 times on the board so far, and we've got Matvey Kozlov coming towards the chase now. He's improving on his time, but a little ways down. We might expect to see this lap time pop himself maybe at the back end of the top 10. It might be into about 11th or so. Currently P13, as we saw Kovalevsky put himself up into P7, but as you would expect at a long track and tricky track here like Bathurst, we're seeing some gaps opening up. I think Bench Farkash, it's going to take quite a lot to catch him, although Juháš has closed that gap to just about 1/3 of a second. Gasparak not within 1/2 a second, so it is clear that Bench Farkash's time is very solid and is definitely a strong marker for these guys to beat. Pascal Jean-Pretre, I think, improving ever so slightly for P4, as Kozlov, where can he go? Only improves to P13, not the best final sector, by the way, putting himself ahead of Rostanson up into that top 40, or top 13 I should say. Gregor Hujek, he improves to P6, as you can just see that slight jump as he improves just by the 1 row here at Bathurst. Still a little ways back from Bench Farkash, nearly a full second away from that provisional pole time. Mate Mikiewicz, he's purple through the first 2 sectors, of course. Mikiewicz is a driver to look out for. P8 in the championship, 37 points back. If he wants to win the championship, he really needs to be picking up maximum points here this evening. Of course, you get 20 for a win. The winner's bonus isn't too strong, yet 1 for P15, so with the exception of the opening couple of positions where you drop back to 17 points for P2, 15 points for P3, and then 13, 11 from there. It's a point for a position. So the winner's bonus not massive, and really going to be having to hope on others making mistakes at this stage of the season. 6 rounds to go. 37 points back if you are Mate Mikiewicz. He's going to have to be picking up points everywhere he can. Needs to be really winning every single race. Bench Farkash, I do believe, coming through the final corner ahead of his countryman Mikiewicz, gets out of the way. So let's see what Mikiewicz can do. Can he go to the top of the time sheets? It's looking like it's going to be close, and Mikiewicz does replace his countryman 0.2 of a second at the top. It's a 13.6 there for him. We really are just sitting far lower and lower as we go on. 3 minutes, 17 seconds left in this session. And we're getting to that stage where you're going to have to be starting your final flying runs, otherwise it's not going to get classed onto the board. Mariusz Abdir, currently P9, he wants to improve, is improving on his lap time at the moment, but he's getting a little bit stuck behind the car just in front of him through the final corner. Can he put himself maybe into the top 5? Let's see if he's got a nice toe down the chase and whether it's done him any good. And he does go up into the top 5, P5 exactly. But there is quite a big gap between himself and Pascal Jean-Pretre in P6. And we look back, time's still improving. Marvin Mackenberg, one of the 2 Mackenberg brothers here this evening, and he popped himself up into P7, leapfrogs his brother, and he is now just over a second away. Kozlov into the top 10 as well, as the times continue to tumble. These drivers really finding a little bit more pace as the track ramps up. Gregor Hujek, of course, he is the man to beat at the moment, leading the championship by a single point, and he goes up into P6 for now, but his championship rivals, Gaspar Mrak up in P4 and Christian Juháš up in P3. You won't be too pleased to see those guys doing well at the moment. Skivorsky coming around the final couple of corners. The Spaniard, he's currently at the slowest lap time of all. And it doesn't look like that is going to change, even though he is improving, still 4 seconds down through the middle sector. His countryman Santiago, 3.6 seconds down overall. So I think this may be an improvement for Grozowski, which indeed it is, but not enough to improve him anywhere onto the grid. 1 minute and 42 seconds now remaining in the session. Jacek Kowalewski, this is his final run. He won't be able to get another timed lap in, so this is as good as it's going to get for the man currently sitting in P12. 4/10 of his best time so far, sorry, I should say, of the fastest time so far. So this may be enough to put him into the top 8, he would hope. He's got the chase to go, and then just the final corner. Let's see how he negotiates these final turns. In his Cupra, I mean, he will love to be further up the order, Kowalewski. Currently not having the best of seasons. He's down in P17 in the championship, but will be looking to pick up points on some of the guys around him. Mikiewicz still with that fastest time, 2/10 ahead of Farkas and Juhas. Where can Kowalewski go? Is this good enough to put himself within a second and put him maybe into P7 as he crosses the line? It is indeed P7, 8.9 tenths down at Martin Mikiewicz, but that is session over for the Polish driver. Only a few more drivers yet to cross the line, and one of them being Sven Mackenberg in his neon pink and purple car, a little bit of blue as well, on a very striking Cupra, as he will run into the final corner. A couple more drivers will be similar lap times around him. 30 seconds now on the clock. It's going to be a race for a couple of these guys to get to the line. Sven Mackenberg, he will be looking to improve. See if he can jump up on the timing order. He is still P7. You can see there, so I don't believe he has improved, and may just be the final meaningful lap time that we see in this qualifying session. We'll wait to see if anybody pops up another lap time, but in the end they will stay where they are. Martin Mikiewicz has taken pole position and the point that goes with it here at Bathurst. It's his countryman Ben Farkas making it an all-Hungarian front row of the grid, 2/10 back. It's Christian Juhas in P3 and Gas Marak in P4, the Slovenian, hoping to leapfrog Hujek, who starts just behind him in terms of rows, because Mario Sabdia splits them in P5. Sven Mackenberg P7, and Jacek Kowalewski in P8 with Marvin Mackenberg and Pascal Jean-Pret in the top 10. We will get through the rest of the grid when the grid comes up. Hassan McConan will be starting in P11, but we've got a few minutes of a warm-up. We get into the race, and these guys maybe might want to go out. You know, some drivers like to go out, some don't, just to get a bit of feel for the car, maybe just to try and see how the car behaves differently under some higher fuel loads, but it's all up to the drivers, and they have 2 minutes 30 to do so, in which we'll see if anybody goes out. They won't really complete one entire lap, but, you know, going over the mountain, it might all be some useful info as we get in towards the race. Okay, 2 minutes of this warm-up session remain. No one really looks like they're moving out of the box, so it means that we're going to be waiting around for the start of one. Of course, top 10 reverse will set the grid for race 2, so important to get yourself inside that top 10. Currently on the outside looking in, and if you're within the top 10, you don't really want to throw away an evening's worth of racing and an evening's worth of possible points for the sake of a position or two inside of that top 10. So we'll see how all the drivers play it. Crunch time in the championship, as I've mentioned, top 4 split by 10 points, top 8 really of the drivers in the championship. Christian Orban currently leads the cup standings, and he will look to continue to lead those standings as we make our way through season. I'm hearing some noises. It's Sergei Mukimov coming out of the pit lane a bit late. I mean, he's got 1 minute 15 on the clock. I'm not too sure he's going to be getting very far on a lap. Yeah, but, you know, always nice. Maybe he just wants to get a feel of the car before we get into full green flag racing conditions. But when we do, it's going to be fast, it's going to be frantic, and I think particularly in these super touring cars, or these particularly touring cars, we get some great close action. We've seen it all the way through the season, all the way from the start when we arrived at Suzuka for the opening race. We were at Aragon for race 2, Imola, Twin Ring Motegi and Spa-Francorchamps rounded out the first half of the season. Silverstone and Slovakia for our last couple of rounds. Very much looking forward to next week and Sepang, as we will go to the Malaysian Classic circuit. Of course, taking off some calendars of late in the last decade or so, and then of course we will end the season on the Nordschleife. And what an important evening that could prove to be. Winning and losing on the Nordschleife. Your dreams made, your dreams crushed. And an extra bit of money in your back pocket as well, especially when you consider that we have got £285 for the champion come the end of the year. And I wouldn't mind that kind of money, but I'm not good enough to be driving in these cars, which is why I am sitting up here talking about it with you guys watching along at home. Warm-up is over. Warm-up, the timer has hit 0. It will be soon loading in to the race here in Bathurst, the opening race of 2 in the Super Touring Championship. Race Room, of course, the form that we are on. Many of Race Room's top drivers in this event. I mean, you look at some of the guys that we see, the likes of Mario Zabdir, particularly, he's a man of all trades. The two Mackenberg brothers, Bench Farkash, a man that we often see in ranked events up and down the order, so lots to happen here. All of the drivers, though, forming up on towards the grid as this is going to be an incredibly exciting, incredibly important race in the championship. If mistakes are made, they could be more than costly for championship aspirations as we are at that point of the season. You've got to make sure you get yourself away. Bench Farkash, you can see just loading in there. He'll be on the front row behind his countryman, Mate Mikubic. Mikubic will, of course, hold that inside line on the run towards turn 1. How important could that prove to be? A couple more drivers we're waiting for to load themselves in towards the grid, of course. Being on the virtual world, it's wonderful, isn't it? You just get to jump yourself in whenever you can, whenever your internet says you can. And it looks like everyone is ready. 25 minutes here of racing at Bathurst. It's 6 races to go, 3 rounds of the Super Touring Championship Season 3. Mate Mikubic, can he get the launch off of the line that he so desires? We will find out as the lights are out, and we are racing here at Bathurst. Good start, though, from Bench Farkash on the outside. I don't think it'll be enough, though, as Mikubic has the inside line, can control that line, and will make sure that there's no real room for Bench Farkash to try and make the move, I should say, around the outside. They will run up towards turn 2, down the quarry there. Well, the slipstream going to take effect, particularly Bench Farkash, everyone behind, getting dropped. As they all tuck in, but can we see Farkash make a move up in towards Quarry Bend? Not quite, going to stick it behind as they all run to the opening lap. No one really risking it to make an early move, and maybe just consolidate themselves for the rest of the evening. Will take advantage if something happens over the mountain. Over the mountain, we are going through. We go up the hill. It's such a tight left-hand corner, but the cutting, they will now run their way. They continue to ride through Mount Reed Park, Frog Hollow, Silverman Park, and up into Twisty Park as well. When they get there, they will be at the top of the mountain. Skyline for driving down here. So you see Darragh Thacker getting a bit wide and close to the wall, as they all do, pushing the limits in these touring cars. Skyline. They will make a move difficult, almost impossible to make a move down. The S's, you'd have to be very, very brave. Maybe be looking for a mistake. If not, thrown in right in the middle, behind the back in the order, but they would look to have got through. We're seeing side by side. That I think is Sven Mackenberg going side by side further up the field as they run their way down into the racetrack. Forest Elbow for the first time, and Sven Mackenberg into P7. I believe he made that move in the end. It's a fantastic fight you can see at the front for our race leader, Mate Mikubic. It's going to be a long way, I think, for Farkash to go. Looking at 2 minutes and seconds for a lap time if you even it all out. And my maths, which did serve me well in my school days, tells me that we are going to have a grand total of 14 laps here. Although that might be very, very right. No, it's going to be 10. I'm already wrong in this race, so that doesn't continue. Here's Asmorak in P6, championship leader, of course, as it stands. Or sorry, I'm wrong about that. Gregor Hujak. I mean, there is only 1 point between them at this stage, and countrymen, of course, Hujak and Morak, Slovenian, fighting over the title. But Christian Newhash, he's going to put his nose in, going to try and stick himself into that argument as well. Not to Mikubic. He needs his that competition happening in his face. Back trial, I will try as we go along. And into Vladislavic here, and the Serbian driver in this lime green and black car from the inside to make that one stick. The bright pink car, the unlarge competition livery car just in behind is off track, but Vladislavic, he doesn't get the move here on Orban around the outside into the cutting. Plus going to try and do a stick up the inside to see Mikubic this wants to take all of the contact as they make their way through the exit, all contact as they run their way through the right hand and behind as well. And I think that's over the side to take. Having it, all the off challenge of the break of Bathurst on their way up the Kozlov already. Actually, we had to make because now we're 21. That is happening. That is not flying through the edges. Like it, Bramlin goes his way over the hill and once again just bounces his way up. Jules Usa is losing, I believe, out behind. So Kozlov's moving on as they come over the hill. Or actually, yeah, Usa losing out big as well. After a fantastic start up to position on the line. To make it drive relatively to go down the string, return to my math, because that is indeed, I thought that was 6 laps. 11 minutes, it'll be about 4 laps. We'll be looking at about 9 laps in this race. We'll get this right in the end. It's 10 laps, and it's the end of the second. Oh my word, there is contact. He's on the grass. That is not the line for the Dutchman, and he knows it. He's going to rejoin there, hopefully relatively cleanly bouncing his way in. And reconnect. Not much either. And he's continuing to plummet down the order. Here comes Trivik down the inside, and that Oaklick as well. In that yellow and green car. He's 1 mile not over with that colour combination. He'll try and find his way up above Mukimov and Rosnov. Maybe not his qualifying. Qualifying for a British driver, but he is trying his best to recover. Hey, first good pole. He will be very pleased at that. The championship doesn't want to be on the outside looking in terms of the top 10. It is late for the season because if he falls any further back, it can really, logically rule him out from the championship. That is not what he will want to happen, and not really what we want to happen. What we want to happen, because we want as many drivers in the championship battle come the final day of the season. Myself and Zach Sweeney and feast over championship, maybe championship move, championship deciding battle. Yeah, still a long way to go in this race. 19 minutes 30. Okay. He's still trailing Martin Mikovic. He's not really allowed his countrymen to get too far away. I think that's what we'd expect, really. Newhash as well. I mean, we could keep the lines and take a red card. Newhash maybe trying to get a better exit, but when you're that far behind, you're not really looking for a move down into the chase. You're really just waiting for a mistake. You're looking to defend your position and making sure you don't make any severe mistakes. But this top 4, Mikovic, Farkas, even Klapdin, they are currently getting away from the rest of the field. It's Geskivosky at the back of the field, causing a yellow flag, possibly, almost certainly having problems down through the S's. But as we complete lap 3 here at Bathurst, Martin Mikovic will carry on in the lead of the race. Bench Farkash, Juhasz dropping a little bit into the clutches. The pole, Mario Zabdir. Wouldn't mind picking up some more points. Mario Zabdir, of course. Podiums haven't been his strong suit so far this season. But we will try and see if he can pick one up tonight. Down in towards turn 2 at Quarry Bend. Is he going to make this one stick? No, he's just going to sit in behind and not really force the issue. Zabdir, though, he is, I think he's a driver that we can look at in terms of being a dangerous driver. One of those drivers that, even if he's not at the top, we're always slightly worried about whether he can maybe spring a surprise, because he is such a fast driver in all forms of race car on this racing platform. So a lot of these guys, they will race together, they will know each other's strengths, they'll know each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses, and I think it'll be important for Zabdir to maybe try and be a little bit unpredictable here, to maybe do something some others won't expect. But at the same time, that's when you're desperate to make a move at the end of the evening. Kovalevsky still read him for a second because he is dropping down the order. It was a brief yellow flag as we look back now. These guys, 6 cars, really cover them with a blanket. Kovalevsky is not what your hood should be looking like at all. You can see the ripple there, and yeah, a little bit broken in his Cupra car. It'll be a bit of repair needed if it was the real work. Thankfully, You won't have to worry about doing that by the end of the race. By the end of the evening, you will be able to just dump that car and go. Side by side though, on the run in towards the chase, Kovalevsky, that is out of shape, that is the gravel, that's going to be wide, he's going to drop right down the order, and his good work early on, it's going to come undone. I think Russell's a little bit too far back to make the move. We now see side by side action further up. It's Pascal Jean-Pret and Nenad Vladislaviev. Oh no, it's not what I was going to say, that's Urban fighting over P10 here. Maybe a bit of an up and under for the Swiss driver. Down towards turn 1. You make this one stick to the inside though, as they their way through this opening corner. But I don't really think anything's going to happen for these guys. As Pascal Jean-Pret is going to hang on to the position ahead of Urban for the moment. Vladislaviev and Clough also doing their bit to keep this nice and close. 4 drivers, they are nose to tail on the run down towards turn 2. But not really any moves to be made there. I mean, it's so difficult to make a move, particularly at this stage of the race when these guys are so close together. They don't want to make those big mistakes. A bit of bump drafting going on here. Christian Urban just giving the Swiss driver Jean-Pret a little bit of a tap up towards the cutting, letting him get too far away, but without mistake. It's single file over the mountain here. Maybe a bit of a breather for Pascal Jean-Pret, but he'll know that he can't make a mistake. If he does, these guys will be right on his tail as they rise over the mountain, go down the coast as well. Got to make sure you pick your marks on the S's. To go then here. Look, further up the field. This is Mariusz Zabdir. Christian Newhash fighting it out as well. Down in towards turn 3. These two have been nose to tail for a little while now. Waiting to see if any moves are going to be made. Zabdir still sticking in behind, still not going for the move. Maybe a bit of bump drafting going on for the time being. Let's see if this can continue. Down in towards the final corner. I think Mariusz Zabdir is just waiting a little bit, biding his time, and then trying to make the move maybe later on in the race. But again, he knows that he will get the move done on the reverse grid, because he will start, as it stands, up in P7. You have to be in P8, so I mean, even though he loses out the point now, we'd be able to get through as we change from race 1 to race 2. Nearly halfway through this race though, as we make our way down towards turn 2 for, will be, I believe, 5th time in this race, if my maths is correct, which I hope it is, I think it is. And of course it is. It's the 6th time, because they've completed 5 laps. That's what I was thinking about. Mikiewicz is on lap 6. But it's Farkash. I mean, the thing in this stage of the race, we're seeing a couple of echelons forming. The top 2, the next 2, and then you've got Mrak kind of on his own. Jack and Sven Mackenberg together. Marvin Mackenberg on his own, and then the train. Makoni, Jean-Pret, Urban, Vladislaviev, Clough together. Rostance, Usa, Mukimov, Trebek, and Kovalevsky, they're all together. Santiago's a little bit further back. Opovic, sadly, he is out of the race as well. We've had 3 DNFs so far. Only halfway through this first race, so hopefully not too many. And we'll go on towards race 2, where points really aren't going to be prizes. And we'll really get a picture of where we sit with 2 laps to go. About the championship, in fairness, of course, you can pick up in total 1 point for fastest lap, 1 point for pole position, so 3 in terms of the extras, plus 20 in each race. For a win, you can pick up a maximum 43 points. Zabdir still bump drafting on the way down in towards the chase, still not going for the move. So, you know, theoretically, coming into this race, we have still got 16 drivers in a shout of winning this title. You know, theoretically we don't, because of course you're barely going to win this bonus. You'd have to have some guys retire for that to happen at all. But strangely things have happened. This is a fantastic championship. it at the Super Touring Championship, and a lot does go down here. Lots of fights, lots of different battles in terms of championship, and even week in, week out. So I think this is going to be an exciting one all the way through to the end of this season. And we're very pleased to have you along for the ride, of course, here at T6. Let's see, Christian currently in P11, he is up 3. Pascal Jean-Pret started in P10. Doesn't really want to give that position up, does he? I mean, the guys behind, they've charged through a little bit harder. They've not really been able to get their way into the top 10 yet. But I think it's going to be an interesting one, just to see if anybody can really make this an exciting battle for P10, because we do have that option and that possibility for a couple of these guys to pick up a reverse grid pole, a reverse grid front row, and that can really, really help their championship. Don't want to be giving up too many points now. Christian Orban, he's a driver that maybe a little bit out of the championship picture where he wants to be, but he needs that cup standings. And another driver that wants the cup standings is Mario Zabdir, or the cup win is Mario Zabdir as well. And Zabdir currently up in P4, getting some good points. Christian Orban really can't allow Zabdir to gain too many points on him in this race, because otherwise it's going to be a long way back for the cup standings, especially when you consider that to win the cup you can't get a podium, so it kind of rules out your winner's bonus. It rules out your top points, so it'll be even harder to recover with only 4 races to go. So if he gets that reverse grid, he'll start in front, and he has got a great shout. Side-by-side action here, though, with Pascal Jean-Pret and Pavel Nakoda, 9th and 10th going at it here. They want to be a little bit safer when it comes to this reverse grid. They want to have 2 cars car between themselves and the drivers outside the top 10. They want that buffer to make them feel a little bit safer with only 9 minutes left on the clock. Look at this though, down the inside. Not the move I thought we'd see, but it is going to be an attempted move. They're 2 by 2 through the opening corner. Slavivic losing out, trying to gain the position, I should say, on Christian Orban. And I think he's made that one stick, and he's in that slipstream. He's going to help him pull ever further away. Throw a blanket over them at the moment. They are really, really nose to tail. Nothing to split them at this stage of the race. Up towards turn 2. Let's see. Oh, there's contact. A little bit of a rear end hit for Pascal, by Vladislavic. It's going to lose him out of position. The Serbian to Orban. So his good work down at turn 1. Undone by a little bit of a misjudgment into the braking zone at turn 2. And it's now invited Huff's now on the back of this battle. 5 cars fighting over 9th and 10th. What can go wrong, especially a track like Bathurst? The answer is a lot, frankly, and it'll be exciting to see how this one unfolds. Let's talk top of the championship though. Quickly, as these guys come over the top of the mountain, we have got Gregor Hujo leading the way by a single point, as I mentioned, Gasper Mrak. Now, when you think about reverse grids, sometimes you could say it's a little bit advantageous to start further forward, because you can hold the position, particularly around a track like Bathurst. We're not seeing too much overtaking, but Gregor Hujo leading the championship ahead of Gasper Mrak. Now Gasper Mrak is 2 places behind. He will end up dropping further back in the championship, of course, and Juhas will be gaining that bit more as well, but will be starting further up the field. What he's got to need to do is make moves early, because he can try and get that winner's bonus for himself, and overall in the evening gain some points on his rivals, if he can make those moves early on in the race for race 2, because otherwise he might find himself a little bit stuck in the train, and find himself needing the points, being a little bit more desperate with only 2 rounds to go. This is the part of the season that we all love, isn't it? The first rounds, the opening rounds, they set the scene, they get us ready, they whet our appetite. Some fantastic racing. But when we get to this stage of the season, it's about who you're racing. It's about what you're racing for. Start to make some more decisions based on, do you want to fight this driver? Do you want to maybe play it a little bit tactically? If you drop back a position, if you feel like you've got more pace than the driver in front, of course that is a very, very big risk. But it's at parts of the season like this where you really want to be putting yourself in the best possible position, and it's all about strategy, not just about pace. And even without pit stops, you can have a hell of a strategy in a 25-minute race in these super touring cars when you have such a tightly packed field. Some of these guys, of course, fighting the win. If you're Martin Minkiewicz, double M's, they're going to be confused, and Bench Farkash, you're fighting for the championship still. If you're Rakan Hujek, I mean, they are 5th and 6th. When you are 2nd and 3rd in the championship, as they are, you're not as concerned with Martin Minkiewicz. He's P8 in the championship. He's further back. He can win the race. You're not going to be too fussed that he picks up 4 points. You're going to be pleased that he's picking up the points because he's taking them away from your rivals if you're not having the best of evenings. So it's this stage of the season. It's why we love motorsport. This is the kind of season where we're looking at permutations. We're, us as commentators, even if our maths isn't amazing, we're trying to work out the live points table, particularly in the final race, to try and work out overtake by overtake who's in a championship winning position. Of course, those of you who are watching who like the football, we do it all the time. You can look at the permutations. You can be thinking, if you get that win, we might be able to go up, or if we don't win, we're going to go down. And every time a goal goes in, you're working that out. This is the part of the season that we love, because we are knowing, or we're working out overtake by overtake who is in a championship winning position, who needs an extra overtake to maybe win the title, who really just needs to hold the fort, only pick up a P5, and they have won themselves the Super Touring Championship, maybe P2, maybe P3, because there are really good prizes up and down the field. Cannot forget how much money is at stake for these guys, and even for P5 in the championship, you still get a nice 50 quid. I mean, you might just get the one note, obviously, but if you can walk around with 50 quid in your back pocket because you managed to get P5 on your Sunday evenings, you will be more than pleased. We're now going to see some action. Gregor Hujek looking for a move on Gasper Morak. We've talked about how this is important for the championship. Gasper Morak not fighting it hard, not really going for it hard, but he's got to be careful because the Mackenberg brothers, they're hunting as a duo. See how they can try and pick their way through. Sven and Marvin, of course, working their way through. My first ever race through ranked broadcast, actually, was the Bathurst 2.4 hours last year in 2023, and we knew they were brothers because they both disconnected at exactly the same time. Their internet went down, and so they both disappeared. So there was no doubt that they were using the same Wi-Fi network, but it was so unfortunate for them, and let's hope it doesn't happen here, especially with them in a good position. They would be P3 and P4 on the grid for race 2, behind McConan and Pascal Jean-Pret. Be careful about that, because Christian Orban, Vladislavic, they are in the fight as well. 3 minutes 23 left on the clock. Yet to be seen whether we're going to get to the line time. I think we're going to have 2 more laps to go here at Bathurst. As we're on lap 10. Maybe I did my maths wrong. Maybe I was right the first time. Either way, regardless, a couple of laps still remain in this race. How this one goes. I've just been very thankfully reminded that Gasper and Gregor are teammates. Of course, you forget that some of these guys are teammates, especially when they're so close to the championship, especially when P1 and 2 in the championship are teammates, because they can work together. The gloves are on, maybe until the last race or 2, definitely until the last round, because if it's so close in the championship, like it is now, 1 point, you're really going to be playing team winners between yourselves at this stage of the season. And if you are, you're doing it to benefit each other, maybe to if I give you the position now, you give it to me later, you know, tit for tat, and we'll see how it goes, as we do have 2 minutes 22 on the clock, 2 laps to go here at Bathurst. We'll get 1 more lap in before the timer hits 0. It'll be more like a 27-minute race for these guys, as Mariusz Zabdir on the back of Christian Juhasz. It's 2 not teammates. They are working relatively well together, a bit of bump drafts. Mariusz Zabdir, I should say, he obviously wants to be winning that cup standings. He knows that he can't really go for the title. He's too far back. He's currently P11 in the championship. He's only got half of it, less than half of the points in the championship leader. 3 rounds to go, nigh on impossible. So he is looking for that cup victory, and that itself, I mean, even if he finishes down out of the top 10, you still pick up yourself another 20 quid in your back pocket. So better than finishing P6, P7 because you get a prize for your toil and for your strategy and for your good racing now, which of course Marius out there. One of his greatest strengths is his racecraft and his raceability with a lot of these guys, which is why he's won countless race room ranked events with some of these guys and some of the other top drivers on the race room network. Like a little bit like the best of mountains this time around, but I'm not too sure he will be too troubled by that. So we work our way around. Penultimate time out of Forest Salvo. Well, good evening if you're a Brit, top British driver down in P13, flying the flag at the moment. Cross behind him in terms of positions, and Truex not having the best of evening, but he can turn it around. It's going to be a very good evening if you're a Hungarian fan. Mikiewicz and Farkas currently 1 and 2, but also Hujek and Marak. They're playing it smartly. They're playing it quite confidently, and even these two, the Mackenberg brothers, the two Germans in the field, they are looking like they're in a good position to maybe pick up some very good points in race 2 as well. I'm just going to tick down, but not quickly enough before we get onto our final lap here in Bathurst. 1 to go in race 1 of the Super Touring Championship here on Race Room. Round 8 of 10. Race, what is 15 of 20. So you could say that we passed the 3/4 mark of the season when we finish this race. And we passed the 4/5 mark, or 5th, the end of race 2. Fun facts. Anyway, more fun is that Martin Mikiewicz and Farkas still going for the win. It looks like Farkas going to have quite enough to make the move. I mean, it's going to have to be into the chase, if at all. Mikiewicz, he'll be overjoyed, I think, with the points he's picking up. He needs these, undoubtedly. Ready for a bit of maths post-race. Martin Mikiewicz got pole position. He's not been up there in the championship so far this season, but he needs every point he can get, and this is going to give him one big step into that direction. Bench Farkas as well, another one of those drivers. He sits just about what is, if I can get the standings up, it's just about 10 points off of Gregor Hujek. Now, with the point system, of course, 20, 17, 15, 13 and 11 before you just get one more point down for each position, 10 for 6th, and then all the way down to 1 for 15th. He's going to be picking up some crucial points and might even be putting himself into the conversation to be within 5 points of the championship lead for race 2. I think we're actually going to have 4 drivers within 5 points. For the Championship League come race 2. It's incredibly close, and that is what we love to see, and it is what we watch championships like this for, because it is so close, it's so dramatic, and it is such an exciting series of racing. That's the word I was looking for. Either way, Martin Mikiewicz, he's controlled this race 1, pole position in qualifying. He's not looked back, took control on turn 1, and he wins race 1 here. The Hungarian leads home a 1-2 for the duo from Hungary. Bench Farkas P2, it'll be Juhász in 3rd, and Marius Zabdir in 4th. So Mikiewicz picking up full points, with Bench Farkas picking up slightly less, but still a very good haul. It's Juhász on the podium, and then it's going to be Marius Zabdir. He's still in that championship in terms of the cup standings. Gregor Hujek picking up 11 points for 5th. It's 6th and 7th. It was Kasper Marak actually who dropped back at the end of the race, maybe playing a team game there to try and get Hujek past the Mackenbergs off the start, but Van Mackenberg, P6 for him. He picks up 10, and it's 9 for his brother Marvin. We still have drivers coming across the line. Kasper Marak, of course, picked up 8 points for 8th, and Pavel Makonin was in 9th. The top of the top 8 in the championship, they're all inside that top 9. Pascal Jean-Pret got that crucial final points. Final reverse grid position. That's what I'm trying to say. The final position went to Rostans. Mikiewicz, Farkas, Juhász to top 3. Zabdir, Hujek, and the 2 Mackenberg brothers. Kasper Marak, Pavel Makonin, and Pascal Jean-Pret. Your reverse grid. Jean-Pret will be on pole. Zabievich agonisingly outside that in P11 with Orban, Klaff, and Shorzusa in P14. Rostans, Kovalevsky, Mukamov, Tribik, and Santiago are the 19 finishers in this race. We have Opolik, Iskivovsky, and of course Kozlov in the end, who didn't pick up any kind of points. Didn't even complete the first lap, so he's got a bit of learning to do possibly for race 2. While we wait for race 2, we will be back in a couple of minutes' time for the start of the race. While we do that, I'll be working up the championship standings so that we can come back to you and get this one going. But for the meantime, we will see you. Stick around. A couple of minutes' time, we'll be back for race 2 here at Bathurst. Welcome back, everybody, to Bathurst, and we are back for race 2 here at Mount Panorama down under in Australia. While we were away, I've been totting up the championship points and looking very, very close. Before we get to that, of course, thanks you to everyone who is watching around as we get ready for race 2, and particularly thanks to our sponsors who are here week in, week out. Thanks for Imperial Meat and Fish, Udressy Garage, Marche de Meuble, and Team Fondue. Their support is always invaluable to the championship. But about that championship, it is looking pretty tight. I've worked out we've basically now got 2 groups fighting it out in the championship. We have got, for the championship lead, one of the tightest battles I think I've ever seen, especially after 15 races. As we get ready for race 2, I'll come back to that. Because Pascal Jean-Pretre is on pole position. Can he control this down in towards turn 1? We will see as the Swiss driver will get us away. Doesn't look like it's the best of launches though, because around the outside we will see drivers fighting him for it, but he's going to try and control the inside line and has really taken command of that opening corner. He's not really allowed anybody to come through. He said, "You shall not pass," and they all have to slot into line behind. But these moves early on can be crucial. Pascal will be hoping to hold on for dear life as we run down in towards turn 2. Some lights flashing, maybe some unhappiness from the front guys, but maybe look at that 3 wide in the background as they make their way towards turn 2. Sven Mackenberg, one of those drivers in that neon pink car, as Gasper Morak and Gregor Hudek have had fantastic starts early on in this race. Sven Mackenberg not having the best of launch. He's dropped all the way from the top 4 down to 10th now, so he's had a very poor getaway. Marius Abdir up into 6th. You can see that everyone has gained a position if they were from 6th down to 10th, because Sven Mackenberg has dropped all the way back. Gasper Morak having the best of launches though. That maybe that tactic to let through the Mackenbergs at the end of the last race not paying off, because Marvin Mackenberg is back in front. Vladislavic is fighting away here over P11 minutes 19 stuff. Pascal Jean-Pretre. Vladislavic, look at that, all over the back of Sven Mackenberg, and Michael Clark just in behind as well as they dive down Skyline for the first time in race 2. All in their wonderfully designed Cupra cars, a couple of the drivers going a little bit wide through the S's. All in all, some good lines. Very quickly on that championship battle, we have basically now got 2 groups. Gregor Hudek is currently still the championship leader on 171 points. He is a point ahead of Christian Juhasz, who is on 170, and Hudek is only 4 points in front of both Gasper Morak and Bench Farkas on 167. The top 4 split by 4. Incredibly tight. A fantastic championship battle unfolding. But we're looking at the front here. Pavel Makonin. You know, he is a driver in the next group that we'll come on to in a minute. He's looking to pick up maximum points here if he wants to bridge the gap to the top 4. And it is a sizable gap now. It's 17 points between 4th and 5th in the championship. He needs a win here. He needs to make sure he takes home maximum points. Otherwise, it's really going to be game over for him in terms of wanting the championship. But as they all come across the start lap 2 here, it does give me a chance, as they are single file, to say that this second group here, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, so whilst the top 4 points between them, I will come back to that because they're going side by side. The action doesn't stop here at T6 Motorsports, and it's going to be Makonin going for the lead on Pascal Jean-Pretre. It's going to be so important here for the Russian driver to try and make his way up into the lead of the race. Can he sign, seal and deliver it around the outside? There's contact, but they just about make it through. I thought for a split second there that Jean-Pretre was going to hit the rear end of Makonin there and send them both spinning, but as it is, they've made it through. Makonin though, one position better off, Jean-Pretre one position worse off, as you can see how close they get. They're up in towards the cutting. I think it's going to be a feature of this race to have all these drivers nose to tail running over the skyline, because you could argue the drivers, you know, Martin Mikovic, he's cleaning the car to go so far this evening. Pole win, fastest lap so far. He's only in P9. He's stuck at the moment in today, so he's got to use the pace somehow if he can, but he's stuck and not being able to use it at the moment. To that little championship battle, if I can get back to it very quickly. So we've got the top 4, and then 167 for Morak and Farkas. 17 points behind that is the man in 5th place, which is Sven Mackenberg. Of course, he's not having the best of evening so far, or races I should say at the moment, as Usa is spinning around. 1 point behind Sven Mackenberg is Pavel Makonin, 149. And then 3 behind him is Marvin Mackenberg, 146. 1 behind him is Martin Mikovic. So we've got the top 4 split by 4, the next 4 split by 5. So it really could be much closer in the championship, and you can kind of fancy it. And, you know, I'll go back to the football analogy. Anybody who watches football, you got your promotion race and you got your playoff race. So, you know, the action won't stop. Loads of drivers we're going to be looking at all the way through the season for the top positions in the championship, and it's going to be incredibly exciting. Of course, for the guys fighting for 5th, is that one big prize of getting P5 in the championship, an extra 50 quid in your pocket. And finishing P6, you won't want to do that come the end of Bathurst. We'll see how this one goes. Martin Mikiewicz, a little bit stuck. He's got his way past Van Mackenberg, as has most of the field, he'd say. All of the top 10 after he made that mistake early on, but he's got a lot of work to do to continue his march up the field. As it stands, we're probably looking at not really gaining any points in the championship here, because what they gained in race 1, they're going to lose in race 2, so there's some swings and roundabouts at the moment, but of course we will just keep a close eye on all this. How can we not keep a close eye when there are so many cars close together? And you're looking at this, Clough on the back of this train, just about on the back of this train, 3 seconds back, top 10, 2.5 seconds is more than what's with the top 10. It is incredibly tight. There's nothing splitting them. They are nose to tail. They are pushing each other through most of these corners. It is incredible to see. And Pavel Konin is currently the ringleader this stage of the race. Darragh Thacker, of course, currently leads the championship. Christian Newhash would be just behind him. He's ahead of him, and he's ahead of Farkash, but not ahead of Gasper Morak. As it would stand, Gasper Morak would close the gap himself to Hujek by 2 points, but Hujek would still lead the championship. So it just gets tighter and tighter here. As the season goes on, and we still don't really know where to look. But of course, Trek and Morak teammates, they won't really want to be getting in each other's way too much. Marvin Mackenberg is in a fantastic position, trying to put himself into P5 in the championship, but don't count out Pavel Konin because he is also leading the race. 18 minutes 45 on the clock. Bathurst. Flying their way down towards the chase. No one really being able to go for a move. Let's see if anybody really tries to force the issue at some point soon. We've still got quite a long way to go. Ooh, but look at this inside line. We're looking at now side-by-side action up in the top 5. Is this one going to be a move made? Possibly around the outside. For Mariusz Zabdir on Gregor Hujek. Of course, he's not really going for the podiums because he wants that cup, but he's still happy to pick up P4s everywhere he goes. Not this time into turn 1 though, as he could be able to get himself into P5 ahead of Hujek. But looking in behind, Juhasz and Farkash, they were pulling out of the slipstream. They were looking keen to make moves themselves. This is looking exciting. This race, it's looking tense. I think it's going to be one of those classic T6 touring car races where, you know, there is action up and down the field. There might not be overtakes yet, but once there is overtakes, boy, are there going to be overtakes. We're going to have side-by-side, left, right, and centre. We're not going to know where to look because, you know, big championship moves are being made all in up and down the top 10 really, maybe 3 at a time. We have seen that before. And I have no doubt we'll see it again. I can't wait for Sepang next week, and I'm going to track that will be for these touring cars to race around at such a crucial stage of the season. Any position changes there on the left-hand side. McConan and Mackenberg, they are really, you'd say, the big winners. Of course, you know, Hujek, Zabdi, Juhasz, Farkash, Mikiewicz, they're all up 1, but they're all up 1 because of Mackenberg. So the big gainers, you'd say, relative to the rivals, are McConan and Mackenberg, because they are the ones who are going to be gaining the points in race 1 and in race 2 of the guys around them, and that is exactly what they need to be doing. For Pascal Jean-Pretre as well, this is really going to help him in a march up towards the top 10 in the championship and to try and be best of the rest, because you've got the top 4, you've got the next 4, and there's quite a hefty gap back to anybody else. So yeah, an incredibly exciting season. It is all coming to a head. A couple of weeks' time, of course, we will be at the Nordschleife, rounding out April with dramatic racing. Look at this, Christian Newhash, the Slovakian driver, getting close to Mariusz Zabdir, not quite close enough. Pole looks comfortable. He's always looked comfortable. Even if he's not had a very good qualifying performance, he always looks calm, he looks assured, he looks like he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think that's what makes him such a dangerous driver for a lot of these guys, because you never really know what he's going to do, where to look. I mean, he can be predictable. He can be, you know, drive to how drivers might expect him to, but it's a high level that he does drive to. That is a very, very high standard that he holds himself to. So you've got to be running your A game to be fighting around with Mariusz Zabdir, and if you're Gregor Hujek, you know that if you make a mistake, through comes Mariusz Zabdir. He will make no qualms about waiting for a move. That is Zavic losing out to Clough here. 11 and P12 as they fight their way up towards turn 2. they run through, it's going to be a good move for Clough, really, sticking in to P11, and now he can try and chase after the top 10. Of course, at the moment, only gaining 5 points. But with the next 5 positions, next 6 positions as he goes up, it's another point the position. This is, you know, this race I think is going to be really important, particularly the end of it, because the championship. Oh, is this going to be a move? It's not Zabdir. It's like beefing it up just to make the mistake. He got very close with Yuhash there in the background. I think Zabdir's emerged in front. Yes, he has, but nearly gave him all the credit, and then he loses the position to P6 there, but he just about moved on. Will that really spur him to try and chase after this top 5? We'll wait and see. Around they go. Down in towards what will be the chase. Just see the drivers, you know, trying to find the slipstream, ducking out, maybe, or ducking to the inside line, trying to rake that toe. Everyone following in a big old line. Looks like a snake as they trail their way down the Conrod straight, as tihgt really feeling the need to defend. The inside line is his, but Zabdir, is he trying to set him up to make the move? Got to be careful. They're so close to contact, but I think Zabdir just about got the overspeed that he was looking for. Not going to be able to make a scent, I don't think, into the final corner, and will stick in behind, but I think he gets a bit of a loved up as well from Christian Yuhash in behind. Oh, and I think it's a bit wide as well from Zabdir. Not the best of lines, and now he's going to come under pressure. It was actually not the best of lines from Gregor tihgt, because here comes Zabdir up into the top 5 now, but can he make this one? I think the inside line will favour him, and he gets it done. tihgt is now going to have Yuhash all over him, and like I said, these are big battles for the championship. tihgt and Yuhash, 1 point splitting them before this race, so tihgt does not want to let Yuhash through. If Yuhash gets through, they're going to be tied on points going into the next race, and that is not what you want. It's basically an even championship. You might as well not turn up for the first 8 races, because all you need to do is beat your rival over 4 races in 2 rounds. But as they make their way through turn 2, they are going to stick in the order that they were. Mario Zabdir going why he is such a dangerous driver, showing why he is provisionally leading those cup standings, because he is looking for yet another P4 just to lock up those 13 points, race in, race out, to keep up the order. .5 minutes to go. Halfway through race 2 here at Bathurst. See that gap now formed between Mario Zabdir and Gasp Mrak, exactly what Mrak wants. We serve it well. If Mrak is in P4 and tihgt is in P6, oh, I can't believe this. So if Yuhash manages to find his way through on Gregor tihgt, and that, you know, that's an if he can, because we may be looking for a move here. Christian Yuhash is looking for it on Gregor tihgt. Is my theory going to come true? Inside line of the chase, he's being forceful. It's stuck for now. Over the grass goes Gregor tihgt, and on the outside comes Bench Farkash. He emerges, then nearly 3 wide down into the final corner. It's Yuhash on the inside, it's tihgt on the outside, and then it's going to be Bench Farkash to the inside as well. Bench Farkash picks up 2 as they make their way through. Through comes Sven Mackenberg. Where's Gregor tihgt on this? Marte Minkjevic is in this as well. 2 by 2 by 2 into turn 1. Michael Clough is in this battle. Is there going to be a spin? They get through just about. Clough is in the pit exit. There is just, oh my word, there is contact galore, flashing lights galore on the run down towards turn 2. I was going to say very quickly that if Yuhash got through and tihgt, we were looking at a 3-way tie for the championship lead, but it's all up in the air now at this point of the race. Bench Farkash looking for P6, he's looking for added points in the championship to try and put himself into the championship lead. It is all kicking off here at Bathurst, and this is what I mean about each move is critical. Every position matters at this point in the season when the points are so close. these guys are losing a position or two, particularly to a rival. Couldn't really open the door. Like I said, you could be going from leading the championship from a couple of points to having a three-way tie, and I mean, no one really, if you're in that position, it's a three-way tie into the final couple of rounds because you know exactly you're racing, but the pressure is on you. Tell you what, the second this race is over, I'm going to go going into the cupboard, finding a Strepsil because this race is absolutely enthralling. From start to, well, I say from start to finish, we've still got 10 minutes left of it, plus the end of whichever lap we are on. So, you know, don't go anywhere. This is going to be an incredibly exciting end to the race. Gregor Hujek, he's 11th now. He led the championship going into this race. He will not be leading the championship at stages like this. You know, of course, without stewarding decisions, you know, without all of that malarkey, without all of those simple changes to the order post-race. Gasper Morak is ahead. Christian Newhash, he's dropped down the order, which means Morak will have a relatively nice advantage, I think. Even though he's currently equal third in the championship with Farkash, and with Farkash ahead of Newhash and Hujek, he's going to get closer. So I'm looking forward to doing the maths at the end of this race because it's tighter than ever, really. And don't count out the evening winner because I think even though Martin Mikiewicz should have it with a bow on top, you know, you're going to be looking at people like Pavel Makonin to pick up a P2, maybe Mackenberg for a P3 as well, so, you know, it's all possible for these guys. But the front, though, even though we're looking further back, this is the battle for the top two. The top four, Mackenberg and Morak, are in here as well, having their own private little battle as the rest fight in behind. Marius Zabdir kind of bridging the gap, leading a lonely race at the moment. They make their way into turn 2. 8 minutes 40 on the clock. 8 minutes 30 on the clock, I should say. I looked down and then looked away. Pascal Jean-Pretre looking to make a move, the Swiss driver. I'll hold that one in. Pascal Jean-Pretre, I'm going to say, he's lurking behind Pavel Makonin. Marvin Mackenberg as well is in this fight. I think Jean-Pretre is looking forward. I know that Makonin is scratching his legs a touch, pulling away a little bit. And you've got to be looking forward, especially when you're not really running for a championship at this point of the season. You're looking for the wins, looking for the good results, and I think that's what he's going to be hoping to achieve this evening. He's got maybe a tenner on his mind. Of course, weekly prize money. First, we get 20 quid, 15, and third, we'll be receiving a tenner. There's always those opportunities, particularly for these guys up near the front in race 2, if they didn't do very well in race 1. And the opportunities are still there for them. Make the points. Here we go there. Here's Michael Clough watching Newhash make the move on Sven Mackenberg, and it's deep, and it's too deep. And that's going to be another position loss there for Christian Newhash. And it's coming unstuck a little bit for the championship contender, and he is leaving himself with a lot of work to do. It was a split second about 6 minutes ago, and I know I've mentioned it, but the point rings true, where there were 3 drivers for a split second, of course, because the move came undone and everyone got past. 3 drivers tied for the championship lead. All of a sudden, 5 minutes later, we're looking at Gasper Morak overtaking both Newhash and Hujek. Newhash is in 10th, and Hujek is in 11th. You're also looking at bench Farkash overtaking Hujek and Newhash. The top 2 become the 3rd and 4th, and the 3rd and 4th become the top 2. And that's how quickly it can turn around. And that's why we love racing so much, because it can turn on a dime. And that is what we're seeing. Michael Clough trying to make a move here. Instead, Mackenberg for P8. He's not had the best of evenings. You know, unfortunate for him not to get into the top 10 in race 1 for that reverse grid. He's still trying to do his best to get himself some good points inside that top 10. Up 4 in the race, tied only with Martin Mikiewicz in positions gained so far. We have 6 minutes to go. I believe at the end of this lap, we will have 4 more. I believe. Yeah, because we should be able to. Yeah, we'll have 4 more laps. that one correct. But you never do know. You know, something awful could happen at the front. We hope not, but it's motorsport. Anything can happen. You know, obviously to go to grade, it usually does. Michael Clough, on the back of Michael Berg. But on the back of him, two championship protagonists, Christian Newhash, Gregor Hujek. They are not going to be happy where they are sitting. P10 and P11, very, very subpar, below where they expect to be. Especially when they're fighting to be getting over 200 points, win the championship, and they're almost certain to get themselves over that 200-point mark. Michael Clough fighting away though. Here's Sven Mackenberg on the inside. He couldn't see him for a minute there because they were locked side by side. Has Sven Mackenberg got this move done though? I think he just about has. Maybe he's just on the inside line, and yes he is. He's got the nose in front, and you'd think from this position, with the inside line, control it, and he does. He just controls that line. He says no to any kind of run around the outside. It's going to allow Christian Newhash to make the move here as well. Will it? Inside line, can be brave on the brakes. Can he make this one stick? Is he brave enough on the brakes? Oh, it gets nice and tasty into turn one. They're door banging. They're saying hello. They could pass each other a drink, and they could do more than pass each other a drink, because there is major contact down towards turn two. Some bump drafting going on now. Newhash being held by Hujek and Vladislav down in towards turn two, but oh my word, they are side by side. It's so difficult when you get a side draft as well. Through turn two, they're so close. Another bit of contact. Somehow, Michael Clough, he's hanging on by a thread at the moment. 4 minutes to go in this race. Battling still occurring, and for these guys, particularly for Newhash and Hujek, this is championship critical to get through on Clough and Sven Mackenberg here. If they don't, it could be curtains on their championship times. I'd say that obviously with some exaggeration, because they're still be right in it. You know, could you look back? If they lose their championship by 2-3 points, they're going to look back to this race. They're going to look at that and think, so close to the end of the season. That's where we lost a couple of points. That is where we could have lost our championship and our accolade, winning Super Touring Championship here at Triptych Motorsport for season 3. Three minutes are on the clock. It means that I think we should be able to start another lap before we get to about 2 minutes 15, which means we've got 2 to go. Marius up there. P4, he finished in race 1. Now he's up into P4 in race 2. He's looking for the back-to-back in terms of that regard. And, I mean, if you're Marius up there, I mean, this is effectively a double win, because as crazy as it sounds, he doesn't want a podium. I mean, normally, if you're a racing driver and you say, I don't want to get on the podium, you'd think you're absolutely crazy. But he's looking to win the cup, and at the moment, he's doing an absolutely stellar job trying to pick up that championship. Of course, coming into this evening, Christian Orban was leading in that regard, but Christian Orban, nowhere to be seen, really. I mean, he's P17. He's not going to be picking up any points at all in this race, and he's going to find himself with a long road if he wants to win that cup, especially if he finds himself about 10 points back, when you can only get 13 at best each race if you still want to get yourself in the cup competition. But Marius Abdir, fantastic race from him. 14.4, his best lap of the race. Well, gone slightly quicker because there's a purple time out there. I suppose it's probably one of the top 3. You never do know. Someone may be trying to bridge a gap somewhere. And absolutely nailed their lap. McConin, Complex, Mackenberg, they've got one more lap after this one. One more visit to turn 2, 2 more visits. The end of the Commonwealth, straight to the chase. Enemy Park is where they are flying through now. This fast left-hander into Skyline. Named, of course, as they are looking at the skyline of the area, because there's not much of a skyline in this part of Australia. Right out in the sticks in New South Wales, but not a million miles away from major population hubs at Sydney and Canberra, really. There's my bit of geography nerdiness coming to the fore. Less than a minute on the clock, but we will get another lap in. Do believe, as I cannot see them taking 46 seconds to get to the line from here. And then we'll have 1 to go. 1 to go this evening of round 16 of 20, and Also, race 16 of 20 in round 8 of 10 in this Trip 6 Motorsport Super Touring Championship Season 3. Pavel McConin looking to hold on here. Looking to pick up maximum points. Give himself the best chance he can at bridging the gap to the championship. Look at this battle though. This is where the fighting really is important. Christian Juhasz and Gregor Hudek are into 9th and 10th. You need to get through on Sven Mackenberg because their championship may depend on it. Inside line as well for Kowalewski. On Klaff, that's late, but it's a very, very good send from the Polish driver. Because I think he's made that one stick to the inside of the final corner. It's British 13, 14, 15. Just looking at some of the flags there, but looking at the track, Juhasz looking for the move. He's going to have to make it late, but he's going to have to make it stick somewhere because the time is gone. It's now final lap. The white flag has been flown. Christian Juhasz is trailing Sven Mackenberg on the run down in towards turn number 2. I think I just saw maybe bench park from Gasper Rack on the timing tower. Oh no! That is going to be a big slide for Gregor Hudek. Maybe a tap from Vladislavjevic. Vladislavjevic won't mind though. I think he's going to try and take the position. Can Hudek, I should say, hold it? No, he can't, and Hudek might lose out to Kowalewski here on the inside of the cutting. Can he keep this one? He'll have the inside line and he will have the line. Klaff now trying to come back on Kowalewski. It's all going off in this final lap here at Bathurst. These guys, they find a way still only 10 seconds off the leaders. But the gaps really haven't opened up this particular race. And I tell you, I was talking about a 17-point gap between P4 and P5 in the championship going into this race. I can tell you right now it's going to be less than that if Pavel McConin can hold on for the win, because if he takes home all 20 points, Gregor Hudek, as it stands, he's claiming 5. That's a 15-point swing, and all of a sudden, Pavel McConin, he's in that championship battle. Down they dive through the S's for the final time this evening. Never having, well, I mean, obviously they'll probably have to go to Bathurst again, but if they don't want to, they don't have to now, as they make their way through Oresk's elbow. No one really looking to make a move. There's 2 tenths up front. I don't know if John Pretz was close enough to make the move for the win here as they make their way down in towards the chase. As we look at them now, Mukkonen defending the inside line, making sure that Jean Pretz has nothing he can do to make this one stick. Jean Pretz, of course, not in the championship hunt. He's currently down outside of the top 10, and he's just really looking for pride. But it's Mukkonen. He needs points. He needs wins. He was 5th coming into this race. He is in championship contention with a win here in Bathurst. It's a race to the line, but just about holding on is the Russian by less than a 10th of a second. Jean Pretz, Marvin Mackenberg, and Marius Savdir keeping up his good cup run in the top 4. And, oh my word, what a race from some of the other guys as well. Disappointment for, particularly for Juhasz and Hudek. Marak as well, not having a good evening. Drama in this race. And I will... Oh, was there still at the final corner? They are still fighting at it hard. Gasper Marak in the end, finishing in P7, so really not where he wants to be. And Farkas as well, P6, is a little bit better than the others around him, and in fact, of the top 4 in the championship, he's done the best. A couple of drivers just finishing their races as well. We're waiting for 1 or 2. Sven Mackenberg picked up P8, maybe looking for a little bit more, and he's dropping back in the championship, but Marvin Mackenberg will be pleased with P3. It'll be another good result as well for Marcin Mikiewicz in P5. Which means that as we look at the results, half a tenth of a second splitting the top 2 by the end of the flag. Bench Farkas got the fast lap and therefore the extra point as well, by the way. Pavel Mukkonen, your winner. Pascal Jean Pretz in P2 and Marvin Mackenberg rounding out the podium. It's Mario Savdir and Marcin Mikiewicz in 4th and 5th. Bench Farkas, Gasper Marak, Sven Mackenberg, Juhasz, Vladislavjevic and Hudek in the top 10. I remind you, Marak, Juhasz and Hudek, 3 of the top 4 in this by the start of the race. Kowalewski in 12th, Klaff, Roston, Skribek, a British trio in 13th, 14th and 15th, with Orban and Mukamov 16th and 17th. Mukamov's countryman Kozlov in 18th after he didn't finish in race 1, with Santiago and Eskivosky in 19th and 20th. Usa and Opalik double DNF for him, and Usa not seeing the flag in the second race. But before we let you go, of course, we will remind you what is coming up next week in in the Super Touring Championship, which is Sepang. And of course, Sepang, a track that I think people would say a lot of people like the track. People are disappointed that it's sometimes, or it has gone disappearing off certain calendars in the motorsport world. But we will be going there next week, and I will be there, and hopefully Zach Sweeney will be joining me as well. And just before we go as well, while I've been talking, I have done the maths of the championship picture, and I will tell you, before steward verdicts, Bench Farkash is your championship leader at the moment on 178. Christy Newhash on 177. Greg Kahuchek, Gasper Rack, 176. 4 drivers, 3 points, 2 rounds to go. You won't really want to miss next week at Sepang because it's gonna be critical for the championship. Can it get even tighter? Is it even possible to get tighter? Before we get to the Nordschleife, we will find out. Thanks for your company, thanks to our sponsors, and we will see you next week when the Trip 6 Motorsport Super Touring Championship returns in Malaysia.